As we're getting to our fresh best of 3 and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of ley lines, we have the Polish Protoss player, the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponents. We have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. Here we go. We are getting to our third series of the night, and I'm excited to see how MaNa performs. If you were here last night, I guess I do recommend the VODs, but we actually did cast MaNa versus several less than 24 hours ago at this point. I would say, what, at this point, 12 hours ago? 12 hours ago. If you missed out on it, I do recommend it. There were some amazing matches in the Little League Cup, but MaNa did showcase his prowess against, I would say, the best Zerg player in the world, against several. So I'm curious how he performs here against Reynor, as Reynor is a comparable player to several, definitely. Reynor, he is a top 2 Zerg player in all of Europe, one of the best Zerg players in the world as well. And what MaNa does, what MaNa enjoys, what he thrives in here in this matchup is Stargate opener into a third base, into Robo, into a delayed Archon drop. That is MaNa's go-to. That is where MaNa thrives, and we've even seen MaNa take down players of the caliber of several with such a style, with such a play style. So it is terrifying. It is very effective as well. I mean, there's some pros, there's some cons to it, of course. I'm curious to see how Reynor handles it. How will he handle it? For now, it is going to be a hatch gas pull, standard opener out of Reynor, and likewise, we should be seeing a standard opener out of MaNa. Now, just because MaNa does enjoy this opener of going for the Archon drop and going for a more Archon Immortal death pool of an army, doesn't mean he has to do it every single game. He does have variations of it as well, but our eyes are definitely peeled for that build from MaNa. Are peeled. Here we go. So now MaNa is just setting up with 2 bases. There's a technical choice. It's going to be a Stargate open out of MaNa. Everything is looking normal for the time being. Everything looking as it should. And again, this should lead into an Oracle, into a third base, but it's after the third base. That's what I'm most interested in, is that follow-up tech. Likewise on the side of Reynor, getting his third, just running up, just saturating. Focusing on building up his army. And I'm likewise curious to see if Reynor does cut corners. I mean, welcome one and all to Ley Lines. Ley Lines is one of the smaller maps in the map pool, so aggression can be favored here, as it doesn't take long at all to get across the map. Doesn't take long to be active and to be aggressive. Really, my eyes on Reynor to see if he does skip his Roach Warren. We'll see if he skips it. We'll see if he embraces it. We'll see if he does go for an earlier Evo Chamber timing as well, as we're still in the early moments of the game. Oracle will arrive. And there it is. Yep, there's a Robo. Now, usually it's a Robo after the third base, so there is a slight variation here for MaNa. This is going to be earlier War Prism, and I would imagine earlier Twilight Council as well. So with this Robo, we should be seeing a Twilight Council. There it is. Twilight Council's on the way. And this Twilight Council is not for an upgrade. Not yet. This Twilight Council is to throw down a Templar Archives to warp in High Templar for the Archon drop. Likewise, this Robo is for a Warp Prism to get across the map. So as I mentioned before, this is MaNa's go-to, but he doesn't expand. Ooh, he does not expand. This is an all-in variation. He's going 2-base all-in. He's going 2-base all-in instead. As the War Prism's on the way, Overlord attempts to scout. The Overlord will get eyes on the Robo at least. And Reynor, he has to check for the third base, as the third base is very late. As the Overlord is going to go down, there's a Templar Archives for the Archons. You can see that MaNa is setting up for the expand. And the Lings, they will get eyes on this. Nexus gets thrown down. But with these extra gateways, with this delayed third base, I'm pretty sure that MaNa intends to commit. And what I mean by that, we have seen MaNa go for this variation where he goes for the Archon drop, but then he reinforces with slow lots. And he just commits, and he just sends it. But now here come the High Templar. Lings are getting on top of this though, and the Archons, they do morph in time. Despite that, the Archon is under fire. And the Archon up! Can he get it? Oh my god. Whew, barely not. Archon lives, but that's a lot of damage on the first Archon. And MaNa throws down a Forge. This tells us that MaNa, he's macroing. Ooh, so because MaNa is not going for an all-in, I do favor Reynor in this position just because the third base is very delayed for MaNa, very late. Archons, they trade well against the Lings. They head towards the mineral line. They get one, they get two drones. Oh, they get three. And they go for the Queen as well. Where's the army? Where are the Roaches? Roaches are delayed. Queen goes down. Oh my god. Getting extra volleys here in the mineral line. Reynor, he does defend, but that was a very risky moment there. Very tense moment for Reynor. As Reynor, he's saturating. He's got his fourth base. He did not skip his Roaches. Getting to Evo Chamber, getting to +1 in range. Committing into Roach production. Lesser Ling Bane. We'll see what MaNa can get done as he rotates over towards that center expansion. Oh, drones are going down. 3 more drone kills. Aye, aye, aye. And an Overlord. And Lings. And more drones. Oh my god. Yeah, the value is insane. I mean, again, there's a reason why MaNa is very fond of this Archon drop opener, of this build. Behind this, getting to double robot, double immortal production. As we mentioned at the start of the game, this is what this leads into. It's initially Archon drop into immortal tech into charge lot. So charge lot, Archon immortal, Storm eventually comes into play as well. But again, it's a very much so a death pool of an army that MaNa is building up towards. The downside of this, of course, is one, limited scouting, but he has to rely on the drop to scout instead of oracles. Remember, there's only one oracle, so scouting is very limited. Harassing is also very limited as well to the Archons themselves. And MaNa has been quite successful with it, to be fair. Been very successful, killing workers, killing queens, getting overlords, keeping Reynor busy. Here comes the main army on the right hand side. This is a very early move out from MaNa. MaNa doesn't even have charge on the way. Storm is on the way, +1 is halfway done. And MaNa, he thankfully pulls away. Thankfully does pull away. As Reynor is going to be reinforcing. You can see Reynor, he's cutting workers. He did run up to 74, but now he's focusing on purely Ling Roach Ravager. Just pure Ling Roach Ravager here by Reynor. Storm isn't ready by Templar. Nice force shields here on the ramp. Lings, they collapse on the Immortals. Stasis goes off. The Biles, they do connect. Ooh, as the army gets locked down, and Reynor, he's snowballing out of control, takes down every single Immortal, takes down the High Templar as well. And just MaNa was not ready in time. He was a couple of seconds too late with Storm. And likewise, the army was stuck. The army was trapped. We have 4 Immortals coming in, but where were the Immortals? Yeah, too little too late. The Immortals that were needed earlier. And MaNa, he will defend. He will lose 9 probes in the process. And behind this, Wormhost production. Which again makes sense. Considering there are Nobling Stalkers, Reynor, he is diving, or he's headed towards our Swarm Host. He's rotating over towards the 4th. Lings, they collapse on the High Templar once again. No, the High Templar. One of them goes down. Once again, brutal pickoffs. Surrounding an Immortal. And Reynor, he's maxed. He's maxed out at this point, just pulling MaNa apart. MaNa did have a very nice start when it came to his harass, but alas, just wasn't quite able to keep up with the army. Barely not. Remember, the attack happened, I want to say 15 seconds before Storm. Storm is now done, being spent on Locust Waves. Spent on the Ravagers as well. Last Reynor, he should just snowball out of control from here, as there is not enough to defend. GG gets called, and Reynor, he takes game number 1. Whew. GG. Does take a lead in the series, and we'll see if MaNa can bounce back. Again, it was a shaky start from MaNa, even though the Archon drop was successful. If you remember, he did delay his third base quite heavily. Like, it was a much later third base that I'm used to seeing here from MaNa. And that did give Reynor a bit of a heads up as to what was going on. Despite that, the drop play did do some damage, that is true, but we saw that MaNa was just barely not ready in time. Again, he was seconds away from finishing Storm. Likewise, if you remember, he had Immortals at his natural, not at the third base, so he didn't quite have everything at home to defend either. His army was very much so split, it was spread out, and because of that, Reynor was able to take advantage of the otherwise unprepared army of MaNa. GG. GG, well played. And that will take us into game number 2. We'll see if MaNa can bounce back. We'll see if Reynor can close it out here on Amygdala. One of the larger maps in that pool. I mean, coming into ley lines, we did mention now it is a smaller map and aggression is favored. We saw that Reynor, he did cut workers at, was it 72, 74, under 4-base saturation, just doubling down on pure Ling Roach Ravager, eventually into the Swarm Host, of course. But Reynor did overwhelm. And now we find ourselves in game 2, and spawning in the bottom left-hand corner of Amygdala, we have the Polish Protoss player, the Red Protoss, representing Team Liquid down in the series. We'll see if he can bounce back and force the ace match. It is MaNa. And spawning in the top right-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Italian Zerg player, the Blue Zerg, representing Basilisk. It is Reynor. We go. As our workers do move out. Right now, I would imagine setting up for a standard opener. And we'll see how MaNa does adjust. Now, I'll be honest, I do expect MaNa, especially on Amygdala, I do expect MaNa to go for the same build. I mean, I say the same build. I do expect him to open up with a... Hello. With a Stargate into expand into Robo. Meanwhile, the probe is being very cheeky, setting up behind the mineral line. Okay, and slipping in. Interesting. Curious. He's faking out a cannon rush. Yeah, okay, I was curious. Yeah, he's faking a cannon rush. We do see that Reynor, he's scouting, he's checking. Does get eyes on the probe. Probe gets out. And we calm down. Okay, we're calming things down. Reynor is just droning. Reynor, he did not pull any boys, did not overreact, did not respond. MaNa expanding back at home. Gate expands into Cybercore. He races back as well. We're settling in. This probe was just really suspicious. Didn't really come into play, though. Didn't really come into play. But again, we're expecting the same overall build. I mean, I say the same overall build. Once again, last game, it was more of an inefficient variation by MaNa. He did stay on 2 bases a lot longer, which I wasn't really fond of. We'll see if he does the same, or if he does go for the third base on time instead. On a map as large as Amygdala, I expect the third base to be on time, but we'll see. We shall see. But now it is going to be the Stargate. Stargate into Oracle. Also, it is raining quite heavily outside. Let's go. Embracing the summer, Pappy. One day it's hot, the other, all wet, Pappy, all wet. Reynor, likewise, he's recovering, and hopefully this time when it comes to the Archon harass, Reynor is able to keep up and have his units in position. Once again, last game, MaNa was quite successful when it came to his harass. Stargate is finishing up. Likewise, link speed on the way for Reynor. Into link speed. Settling into his bases. Oracle's on the way. And MaNa should expand. Keep it on him. That's force back. We have extra gases being taken here on 2 bases once again. Throwing down the gateway. And there it is. Okay, it is the same build as previously, Robo. Now, it could be that MaNa, this is a less refined version because, of course, this was the beginning of December, and this is different to what MaNa's now going for, beginning of January. So it's very possible that his builds have evolved over the past month. But regardless, same kind of outlook here. Robo into Twilight Council, into Temple Archives, into Archons with a War Prism. Oh my, meanwhile, Reynor rushing into a lair. Very fast lair here out of Reynor. Just under the 4-minute mark. And the question becomes, what is our plan with this fast lair? Now, there are options. If Reynor takes gases, this could be fast lair into Mutas, into a Spire. And Muta play can actually work quite well against this. The reason why is because, as you can imagine, as we saw in the last game, no blink. No blink Stalkers here. If the Spire goes unscouted, there won't be any Phoenixes either, and the Mutas, they can just snowball out of control if they go unscouted. Second gas is being taken. Otherwise, this could be the setup for potentially Ling Hydra and a fast Hydra Den instead. Even Chamber gets thrown down. If that's the case, then Reynor's going to be skipping Roaches, which is concerning to me. It is going to be concerning. As Lairs finishing up. Still only 2 gases. I'm feeling the Hydra Den here. Yep, there it is. Hydra Den is going to be placed. Otherwise, we would have seen these gases earlier on, and we most likely would not have seen the Evo Chamber. So it should be, yep, rush into Hydras. Bold move. Now, the reason why I'm not too fond of this, as here comes the Archon drop, and the third base as well, is because what exactly is Reynor going to be working with? Archons, Charge Lots, and Storm. All things that trade very well against Ling Hydra. This is where Roaches are going to be a little bit more effective, and we're not going to have any Roaches. That's my concern. Archons, they drop in, they catch the Queen. Ooh, Queen goes down, trades well against the Lings. Nice stutter stepping, avoiding the surround. And here comes a reinforcing wave of Slow Lots. Archons, they have plenty of shields, and Reynor is getting caught with his pants down. No Roaches to defend, no Lings to defend. The mineral line is exposed. The Queens are not quite in position either. And MaNa, he's getting a lot of damage dealt. Oh, he wants the Queens. He wants them. Again, the Archons are so beefy. As drones, they go back to mining. Meanwhile, the main army does collapse on the Queens. Another Queen does fall. Slow Lots have arrived. Nice control here, nice micro. Adepts, they come in, Hydras are falling left and right, and this may just end the game. This may just snowball out of control. Again, Reynor, he cut corners, he rushed into Hydras, and Hydras are not what you want. Not in this position. Ooh, as the Prism goes down, the drones, no! The drones are stacking up. Oh my god. As again, it's going to be a one-way trip. There we go. Recall back home. Stasis goes off in the mineral line. Zeltzer in the main. Sorry, Adepts are in the main base. Zeltzer at the third. More drones are falling. And this is getting out of hand. Oh, very quickly out of hand here as 13 workers go down. Likewise, third base now back under control. 14 drone kills, not just 14 workers, it was 14 workers, 8 queens, Jesus! 8 queens, 16 drones, 24 Lings, 3 Hydras and an Overlord, and for what? For 1 War Prism and 8 Zealots. Crazy, an insane trade here for MaNa. Back at home is going to be reinforcing with more Archons. Storm is on the way. High Templar, they're gathering energy for Storm, and we spoke about this. The scary thing about what Reynor's doing is that, again, he's going to have purely a light army, purely Ling Hydra against Charged Archon Storm. Like, everything that MaNa has here is designed to kill Reynor's army. Oh boy. Now, what can work and what can help for Reynor, one of 2 things. Baneliness, so Ling Bane can help deal with at least the charge lots, and can potentially get on top of the High Templar. On the other side, if we're being very greedy tech-wise, and this is even greedier still, as we have the Infestation Bit into the Hive, Jesus. I was gonna imagine instead of Infestation Bit, instead of a Hive, we see Lair Tech Lurkers. Lurkers would be another way to defend, but last Reynor, he's still cutting corners, he's rushing into Hive Tech. Now we get the Lurker Den as well, but it's a much later Lurker Den from Reynor. Lurker Den's behind the mineral line, and here comes MaNa. Storm is done, and he's looking to knock down that wall, knock down that front door here, and Reynor, can he hold? Can he survive? Now, if the storms don't connect, if the storms whiff, then maybe we can hold. Then maybe Reynor can survive this. Does have a nice concave. Storms, ooh, they do connect on the right-hand side. There's 2 more storms left. They will connect. There's more storms where that came from. Storms, they do pop up. Charge dodge pushing into the bases. Massive warping as well. The Hydrogen is exposed. And the Hydrogen does go down. And MaNa is snowballing out of control. GG gets called as he busts into the natural, and MaNa ties up the series 1-1. GG. GG, well played. We are going to the ace match. Whew. And yeah, everything going well there for MaNa. Everything going. The stars did align. The initial Archon drop popped off. And again, as a reminder, Reynor, he chose to skip roaches. He chose to rush into a fast lair, into a fast Hydrogen, into fast Hydro production. That meant that he was vulnerable early on to the initial drop. That's why when MaNa showed up, when he saw the lack of units to defend, he reinforced those Archons with slow lots. And they might be slow, but hey, without anything at home to defend, it doesn't matter. They still wreak havoc, they still get damage done. And with that, MaNa set himself up for success. A very strong start led into the storm timing, of course. And I'll be honest, even though I was criticizing the fast hive, even if Reynor had gone into Lair Tech Lurkers, it's possible that he would have died anyway. Like, it was just a really rough game state to be in, and really rough position from the Zerg. And that leads us into the ace match. And how does the story end? Which way will this go? The way of Reynor, the way of MaNa? Game 3, interesting map choice, what I will say. Game 3 is going to be on Abyssal Reef. Oh boy. Here we go. As we are settling in. Reynor forgot speedlings. He intentionally didn't make any lings. He had speed. He had some lings. He had like, was it like 3 or 4 lings? But believe it was by design. But here we go. We're getting into, because even if he had like extra lings there, they would have died to the Archons and Zealots anyway. But spawning in the top left hand corner, we have the Polish Protoss player. We have the red Protoss representing Team Liquid. Ooh. Tying up the series and forcing the ace match, it is MaNa. And spawning in the bottom right hand corner, we have the Italian Zerg player, the blue Zerg representing Basilisk, being forced into the ace match, receiving a bounce back. It is Reynor. Here we go. But again, as a reminder, the greed last game was intentional from Reynor when it comes to droning, when it comes to making queens, when it comes to, of course, taking into Hydras as well. It was all by design. He was caught with his pants down. And now we're getting into game number 2. And I would imagine that this time, Reynor, he's not going to be skipping his Roach Warren. I mean, I would imagine that this time, Reynor's been humbled. He's going to calm things down, and we're going to be getting into a much more standard setup instead with Roaches. I would imagine. Now, on the flip side of things, of course, welcome to Abyssal Reef. This is one of the largest maps in the map pool, very macro-oriented. So we could see Reynor embrace a similar style. As a Zerg player, you can still rush into Hive and still rush into Lurkers with in a bit of a less greedy way. We're still investing into Roaches early on, just into the Roach Warren. You don't have to make Roaches, just get the Roach Warren just to have access to them if you need them, and then we can head in towards the mid to late game, which I would imagine that Reynor's going to embrace here on Abyssal Reef. The reason for this, and the reason why I say that, again, this map is very defendable, is because of the features here of the map. The ramp coming into the natural is very narrow ramp, of course. Because of that, very difficult to really pull off something like a 2-base all-in. Likewise, because it's very easy to defend this natural, you can focus your defenses at the 3rd base location instead. So the 3rd is also very fortifiable, just because that's where your attention does lie. You're not split between 2 bases as you otherwise would be on a map like Frostline, for example, or like Wisps of Gold. So very easy to get to set up on 3 bases. Likewise, the 4th base also has the high ground advantage. You have the point of elevation here. You have rocks to buy time, and to push in from the north side, it's also quite awkward as you do have to snake around towards that base. So in general, getting up to your 4 and even 5 base setup is a lot more easy, is a lot more secure, is a lot more viable here on Abyssal Reef. Because that we see a lot of late game on this map. And it can be quite difficult for an aggressing player to try to break the 3rd or break the 4th early on. Not impossible, but more difficult. The map is working against you. So I expect Reynor to have a different approach this time. I can see him headed towards a longer later game state with tech, but safer, I'm sure. We'll see. So far, Hatch gas pull into a third base. Reynor is settling in. Likewise, MaNa securing himself back at home. Going for the Stargate opener into a third base, into the Robo. I'm assuming that MaNa is going to open up Robo again into the Archon drop. We'll see if he does. Now, personally, I would like to see the third base before the Robo, but especially on Abyssal Reef, but we'll see as the gases are being taken, and so far it looks like the same build. So far it looks like, yep, Robo before Expand. So this is, in a way, kind of like a safer variation. I don't think you need to be this safe, though, on Abyssal Reef. I do think you can afford to be a little bit greedier here. Regardless, same build. Same build out of MaNa. Reynor, he does have a presence on the map to move out. We're reaching the 4-minute mark. And within the next 30 seconds, we should be seeing a Roach Warren from the Zerg. As Reynor pokes in, he gets eyes on a third that doesn't exist. But now Reynor is droning, saturating, spores are on the way. He's got 3 queens here at the natural, or at the triangular third base. Oracle has arrived. And we'll be able to shut down one of these spores. Ooh, that's a kill, not a cancel. Spore goes down. Oh, he gets 2 kills, 2 spores do fall. Bit of miscontrol there by Reynor, unable to save those workers. Likewise, queens were out of position, and there it is. There's the Roach Warren. So Reynor, he is going for a safer response this time. He's not cutting anywhere near as many corners. Roach Warren's on the way, Eva Chamber as well. Once again, Lings are in position to deny the third. They will surround the Adepts, not bad. This will make the third base that much more vulnerable. And here comes the Archon drop. As the Prism moves out. Now again, Reynor, because he sees there's no third base, he's aware that aggression is coming his way. He spots the Prism. And back at home, he should be preparing. Roach Warren is just about to finish. Roach Warren's done. Roach production has begun for Reynor. He has 5 roaches on the way. And he should be able to maintain himself. There's still potential for damage, don't get me wrong, from MaNa. But this shouldn't kill Reynor like he did last game. As Reynor threatens a run by. Archon drop is moving forward. The roaches, they have arrived. Lings, they hit the third base, and they should force a cancel. It's going to be close. The Oracle's here to defend. Archons, they drop in. Oh my god, massive shots going off the mineral line. 3 drones go down. Trading with the roaches. Again, MaNa should not lose any Archons. Control is good. He saves the Archons. Likewise, he also saves the third base as the Oracle does shut down the Lings. Adepts a shade into the third base. 4 drones going down. Not bad. Getting an extra worker. Going for the Overlords. Oh, he gets 1. He gets 2. 2 Overlords go down. Supply blocking Reynor. Once again, very nice damage here by MaNa. And again, he doesn't do anywhere near as much as last game, but still damage nonetheless. Oh! Prism does overextend. Whew. Prism taking a lot of damage. Nice moves here out of Reynor. And Reynor, he's going into a faster infestation pit. Now, if this was a standard game, I would assume this is going to be for fast Hive, for fast Vipers. That would be my assumption. But here, against Charged Archon Immortal, I would assume Swarm Hosts. So Swarm Hosts are going to be an option. If you were here for game 1, Reynor did play Swarm Hosts as well. Oh, Prism goes down as MaNa overextends. War Prism does fall. And there it is, fast Hive. Okay, so we're rushing into the Hive. I mean, especially with the War Prism going down, there's nothing to threaten Reynor. Not anymore. So fast Hive into Hydras, into Roach, Hydra, Lurker. Okay, so Reynor, he's gearing up. Likewise, back at home, MaNa, he is stuck at home. He's securing himself, throwing down more gateways, getting his third base up and running. Remember, the third base is late here for MaNa. And if we're losing the War Prism, that means that MaNa has no presence on the map. Does attempt to scout, checking the vision. MaNa, what has he seen? Hasn't seen much here. MaNa, he doesn't get eyes on the tech. He doesn't get eyes on the morphing in lair. Sorry, morphing in Hive. We have the Lurker dens on the way. MaNa's in the dark. And again, this is what we assumed would occur here on Abyssal Reef, where this time Reynor, he is still teching into Hydra Lurker Viper, but he starts with Roaches. So again, it's a bit of a safer opener into a safer transition into the ideal late game composition or later game composition here for Reynor. Again, Reynor is much more secure. Reynor is already joined up to 82. 4 base saturation. Oracle dives into the main, getting 3 drones, not bad. Getting some damage. But without that Archon drop, it means that it isn't just the lack of harassing, but the lack of control of the creep as well. The creep is moving out, getting towards the halfway mark. MaNa is trying to set up. Building up more Immortals, more Archons. Storm is about to finish. And I don't expect Reynor to commit here. I mean, he might want to throw away some Roaches, true. Roaches, they're becoming dead supply. Soon they'll be hurting Reynor more than helping him. Slings a thread and a run by. Reynor, he will soon max out. Lurker upgrades on the way, making 2 at a time. Again, the reason for this is because the Lurker production is later than he would otherwise would have liked because of the investment into Roaches. But he's getting there. As MaNa is pushing through the center, Reynor setting up the surround. And coming in from behind, catching out reinforcements. 2 Archons going to be going down. Oh, and MaNa, he has to get out of here. He cannot push in. Actually, Reynor counterattacking instead. Going across the map, MaNa's committed. Decent storms. Does have detection. He can get on top of the Lurkers. But where's the support? Where are the Zealots? Yeah, where's the support across the map? Immortals, they're pushing through. They're getting on top of the Lurkers. Oh, but alas, the Immortals aren't going down. He's running out of steam. There's just not enough here to push in. And across the map, Reynor, he is looking to cripple the economy. Oh, looks like there was a bit of a pause. Once again, some connectivity issues. Lings, they come in to reinforce. They take down a High Templar. Oh, they barely don't get the Immortal. But MaNa, he's running out of army. He's just running out of steam. The Immortal goes down. Ay, ay, ay. The Immortal falls. Reynor, he can remax. Again, that was a relatively successful attack out of MaNa. And imagine if he had a Warp Prism. If he had reinforcements, after killing the Lurkers, he could have kept going and potentially ended the game. Like MaNa, he had storms banked up that he wasn't able to use. But the run by forced defensive warp-ins, they force his attention back at home. And with that, Reynor, he's looking secure. Looking strong. He holds, he maintains his economy, still hasn't made any additional workers. He's at 81 drones at this point, but he's building up more Lurkers. 7 more Lurkers coming into the fray. Yeah, and with this many Lurkers, this army just kind of push in. Now, a ground-based Immortal composition can break through this, but only with more Immortals. Oh my god, the storms, they pop up! Jesus! The storms are crazy! Despite that, there's just not enough support on the ground. The numbers are not there. The supply is not lying, Pappy. Not this time. As Reynor overwhelms, he's maxed out, takes down the Oracle. He's going for the kill. There are still 2 Archons left over. The Archon drop, let's go! What MaNa does best. But despite that, Reynor is pushing towards the 4th base, peeling off towards the natural as well. Ooh, as the mineral line is going to fall. And so will the bases. As Reynor, he just ignores the expansion and goes straight for the kill, straight for the 3rd instead. Getting on top of the production. Pushing into the natural. We see MaNa trying to catch reinforcements, moving out across the map. I mean, these are efficient trades, but he's still gonna. It's just not enough. GG, well played gets called, and Reynor, he will take the series 2-1. Will take down MaNa. GG. GG, well played, Reynor. He will claim the series, but a shout out to MaNa because, hey, once again, he does force the ace match here against a top Zerg player. Again, this is a MaNa from a month ago, though, and I do believe that his build has since been refined. So if you want to see a more modern take of MaNa's Archon drop opener, then you can check out last night's broadcast. MaNa against Serral did play very well in that series, and honestly, I don't want to get too much into it just because I'm sure a lot of people haven't actually watched it. Again, did occur 12 hours ago. Do recommend it. Was a lot of fun. VODs are on Twitch, VODs are on YouTube. Regardless, GG gets called, and Reynor will take it. GG. GG, well played. With that, we're going to be getting ready here for the second half of the broadcast. Let's just catch up on what has been going on and on what is up next. Here we go. We need a pants emote. We do. We unironically. Maybe not for the CranKy Ducklings. I don't know. Maybe not, but maybe on my personal channel. We'll see. We'll see. Pantsless back. Aye. Is he going through all games of Group C round 3 or just picking out notable games from Group C? So hello Matt, hello. If you're unfamiliar, we casted Group C live. We were the B stream, for HomeStory Cup. So you may have already seen us live at the time. That's why we're using all these overlays. These assets were provided to us when we were covering the main event. But at the time, there were only 2 streams. There was the main stream and there was the B stream. So the main stream and us. There were 2 streams going on throughout the entirety of the event, and during the group stage, there were 3 matches happening at the same time. There were 3 series happening concurrently, and because there were only 2 English streams, it meant that every single round in each of the groups, there was 1 match that wasn't being played. So a third of the group stage wasn't casted. A third of the group stage just straight up was not casted, at least not in English. I'm sure there were casters like Indie, for example, or TKL, or some of these others that would peel off and follow, you know, their respective favorite players like Clem or like Spirit or Geralt, for example. So some of these matches may have been covered by some of the other languages, but not in English. So because of that, that's why we're going through the replays. We casted the event live at the time, but because there were a plethora of games that were never broadcasted, we did want to at least provide them some coverage so we can bring them to light and see what happened off stream, see what happened off cams. So that's why we're live at the moment with the replays. So we're covering basically these are the matches that weren't covered live at the time, and we're halfway through. We are halfway through. MaNa, we had, of course, our initial series between MaNa and DNS and Gabe, and Reynor and MaNa as well. Whew. And there are 2 matches left. 2 matches remaining here in Group C. There is a caveat, though, to what I was saying. The caveat to that, and the only group that we did cast almost everything live, was Group D. If you're watching Group D live at the time, at least here on the B stream, a lot of short games. When we casted Group D, a lot of really short games. So because of that, whenever we finished our designated series, we had enough time to actually cast the other series as well. So when we casted Group D, I think we casted 9 matches when we usually cast 5. So we covered most of Group D live at the time. So because of that, we're not going to be having a dedicated Group D cast. We already casted the remainder of Group A, Group B, and now here Group C. Group D was casted live. Again, a lot of short games, a lot of cheese, a lot of all-ins. A lot of all-ins, man. So we have 2 matches left. We have Reynor versus DNS and Clem versus MaNa coming up next. Let's go. If you want to tune into the broadcast or the VODs of the live event, then you can check out the VODs either here on Twitch or on YouTube. The VODs are all uploaded already on YouTube, so it's all there, all under a HomeStory Cup 26 playlist if you wish. We also did cover the playoff bracket as well. If you remember, it was very last minute. As we were covering day 2, the admins did contact us, and they're like, yo, do you want to cast day 3? Do you want to cast the playoffs as well? And we're like, oh, what's the plan? Originally, they weren't going to have double elimination, but they on the cuff, they made the decision to make it double elim. So because of that, we did cover the playoffs as well. At least, you know, the matches that weren't covered on the mainstream. So yeah, it was an intense weekend. It was an intense weekend. I think we had like 3 12-hour casts, maybe even more than that. Like it was brutal. I want to say maybe one of those days we reached 14 hours. I want to say I can't quite recall. It's been a while. It's been a while since HomeStory Cup, but yeah, those are some long casts. Actually, you know what? We have the technology. It wasn't 12 hours. How long was it? Was it 9 hours? Let's see. I'm just checking our YouTube channel. I'm looking for beginning of December. Yeah. Day 1 was 11 hours. God, looking at it is crazy. Day 1, our cost was 11 hours. Day 2, it was 11.5 hours, so just over 11 hours, 11.5 hours. And then day 3 was 5.5 hours. Yeah, because day 3 was the playoffs, and the mainstream covered like the semis and the finals. Yeah, 11 to 12 hour cost. Let's go. HomeStory Cup for you. Regardless, we have 2 matches left. We have 2 matches remaining. Because we're now halfway through, we're going to be going on a short break. Take this time to get some snacks, get some food, drain your disruptors, massage your marines, and hydrate all of your hydras. When we come back, we'll be live with Reynor versus DNS. See you soon. See you soon.